All right, here we are. This is the first episode of the Addictively Speaking podcast. Um, I'm the host, James Kashnowski, and this will be just a little introduction onto who I am and what this podcast will be about. As I said, my name is James. I am 41 years old. And I currently live in the United Kingdom, Crawley to be exact, about 40 minutes away from London. I'm originally from the United States, Pennsylvania, born and raised in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania area. And right now, I am 10 and a half years sober from alcohol. Hence the name Addictively Speaking. The podcast is going to be about recovery, addiction, and a variety of different topics. Yeah. So, let's just talk about my recovery and how I got there and things like that right now. Um, so, um, 10 years ago, 10 and a half years ago, um, I decided that I needed to give up alcohol. I needed to change my life. Um, I was slowly killing myself, and it was taking a toll on myself and my family and friends. And I just decided that if I ever wanted to have a normal life or a family or anything really that I could be proud of, that I needed to stop. Um, and that's what I did. I didn't do a 12 step. I didn't do any of these um, programs. I didn't go to a rehab or anything. I just kind of did it all on my own. Um, in recovery, everybody's story is different. Everybody's recovery is different. So what worked for me might not all work for other people, because everybody's different. Everybody responds to things differently. Some people need a 12 step. I personally didn't. I didn't feel it was good for me. I just needed to be stronger than my addiction. And I have been for the past 10 and a half years. I've done a lot of stuff to help with that. Like, I got into jujitsu and boxing, and kickboxing and MMA and stuff like that, lifting, running, um, things that are a lot more positive, but still release um, the chemicals in your brain, like endorphins, to help with positivity and stuff like that, because I suffer with depression and anxiety. So I find it hard to deal with that sometimes unless I have, you know, uh, running or the gym or these other activities to help me kind of, you know, take a break and let my mind, fade away and try not to focus on all the stuff that's making me depressed or anxious or anything like that. So I definitely need those things because they definitely help in my recovery, like 1,000%. Um, so yeah, that's basically where it all started. And now I'm a father. I'm a husband. I've been married for almost 8 years now. Um, yeah, and I have two wonderful children, a 4-year-old and a 3-month-old. And back when I was in my addiction, I always wanted those things, but obviously I never thought I could have them because I thought I didn't deserve them. I didn't deserve to have a family or anything like that. I was punishing myself for something um, that that happened in my past. My best friend Ron Hine, coming out of high school, he passed away um, tragically, and that kind of started the whole spiral. Like, it started me to kind of drink and not care and hate myself and hate life, because I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to process the information. I didn't know how to understand, like, yeah, I blamed myself. Um, why didn't I know that he was, unwell, like things like that. Like I thought that, I needed to suffer now. So I put myself through 10 years of, you know, pain, and my family through 10 years of pain, you know, which was difficult because my mom, you know, had rheumatoid arthritis and she had struggled her whole life. And I was I was a handful, and I caused a lot of issue with police and all kind of stuff, fighting and things like that. So I was quite a detriment to myself. So it was it was heartbreaking. It hurt me to hurt them, but I just couldn't see a way out. You know, I at one point, I think in like 2004 or 2006, those years kind of all blend together. It's tough to really get a gauge on what year it was. I tried to kill myself. I I didn't, I just took a bunch of aspirin and pills and washed it all down with some booze and stuff like that. And you know, I wrote a bunch of suicide notes and stuff. Like I know I did, but my mom told me I didn't, but she took them all. Um, I know I wrote them. I remember writing them. Um, but yeah, my friends made me throw up, and then I ended up going to a mental health ward at Geisinger Hospital for 3 days. Um, and then I was sober for 9 months. I was sober for 9 months at that time. Um, and then I relapsed again and just thought, well, I can have a little bit, can't I? And it just started the cycle all over again, just as bad as it was before, if not worse. So yeah, these are the things that, as I'm sober now for 10 years, I look back on and I think, wow, that's crazy. Like, you were sober for 9 months and then you just threw it all away. You get to a point where, like, people also influence you. They influence your decisions and they're like, oh, yeah, hey, don't worry about it. You don't have a problem. Or, um, things like that. So you kind of start to believe that and you tell yourself, like, the hardest thing to do really in addiction and recovery is just to admit that there's something wrong, like to admit that you're not the same as everybody else and accept that. I know now that I can't drink. I just can't. I'm just not that person. I can't have one. I, I just can't. I'm not a social drinker. Never was. Never will be. So for me to have one drink, it's just like lighting a fuse to a bomb. Like I'll just keep drinking until I go off. So yeah, there's no in between. Um, I have no moderation, and I've learned that as well. Is that I might not drink anymore, but I still struggle with the ability to moderate myself with anything really, whatever it is, like things that I become into, like running. When I started running, but I had to run every day because if not, um, I'd get anxious or I'd get, um, my mind would start to play on me and be like, oh, you could have went for a run today. That's you just being lazy, blah, 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 blah. So you just kind of like get in this position where, yeah, like I couldn't just do it and enjoy it and have fun doing it. I had to do it to like an extreme level. The same with boxing and kickboxing and jujitsu. Like, did it to a point where my body just started to like break down. I had shoulder pains and my back was always hurting and I jammed my wrist boxing and I just got to the point where I pushed myself so hard that yeah, it just wasn't fun. It was just painful all the time. So um, I've learned now as I'm older in life that I've taken some time to be able to try to moderate things and not let my anxiety get the best of me to pressure me into doing something at an unhealthy level. Um, Still, I mean, I still run quite a lot. I like to go to the gym. I haven't been to jujitsu for about 5 years because it's just no time with a family and a full time job. It just becomes impossible to do these things. I would love to go back because it was such a great outlet for anger and aggression and things of that nature. Because, those are things that I have to deal with. These are issues that I have that I need to deal with. So having that in my life helped to deal with those issues. And now I don't have it. I have to process things in a different way. So, um, yeah, so it's just things like that. This podcast is just going to be about, life and getting through life and your family and your friends and things like that. Like, honestly, I think without the friends I have, um, I've developed friendships that are, you know, everlasting. And these guys help me through, some of my darkest periods. And some of my friends have seen me at my absolute worst. And they've still stayed my friends and they've still supported me and helped me, which I think is very important because I remember when I decided I was going to get sober, I was like, man, I am really not thrilled about telling my friends that I'm not going to drink anymore because, you know, it was like a big thing to all of them. They all drank and it was all like a thing. And I just was kind of like very anxious about saying, listen, I'm not going to drink anymore. And I did. I got a hold of them and I was like, hey, listen, um, I'm not going to drink anymore. I'd like to be sober. And, I know you guys don't think I have a problem, but I do have a problem. And I just hope that you can respect my wishes. Um, to not pressure me or not to ask me to drink or anything like that. And, amazingly, they were like, yeah, man, absolutely. You need to do what's best for you. And they've always supported me 100%. So, um, my best friends, Sam Limbert, Justin Miller, Jamal Blunt, like these guys, Chris Cherry, they all kind of like stayed around me and, helped me feel accepted and safe. And, you know, that's been a huge part of my recovery, and it's helped me through a lot of stuff that I've had to deal with, the loss of my parents and things like that. Having these kind of people close to you, and my brother as well has been a huge supporter and my biggest fan. And um, I can't say enough good things about the guy. I mean, we're 17 years apart, and we are as close as you can be as brothers, which is something that was very important to my mom. So it's good to have that bond with my brother as well, because he's helped me become a better person. And yeah, so that's it's a crazy journey that I'm on. 10 and a half years in recovery. So yeah, we're just gonna delve into all kind of topics with this thing. But I just wanted to have a little start to this podcast because I wanted to do it for a long time. Obviously, just finding the time to do it with a full time job and kids and stuff like that is almost impossible. But I'm gonna make the time, and I'm gonna try to do a couple episodes a week, maybe about 20-minute long episodes or 25 minutes, and hopefully I'll be able to do this and record with some guest features and stuff like that from my friends back home. I know my buddy Jamal back home wants to hop on this, and we could talk about parenting and what it's like being a father and things like that, or things that we wanted to discuss. And that's hopefully something we can do in the future with future podcasts and stuff. But I'd just like to drop this out there and say, you know, uh, that I'd love to help people on their recovery journey, no matter what that means. So maybe this podcast can reach some people and help some people because that's huge to me in my recovery. I've loved to be able to give back and help people and help help people that are struggling with addiction hopefully get the help they need to be able to have everything that they think they don't deserve, because you know I never thought I deserved any of the things that I have now. And now I appreciate them so much more. I'm so grateful to have found recovery because I met an amazing woman and I got married and started a family and did all the things that I never thought I'd ever be able to do when I was drinking because I never thought I'd be able to stay sober long enough to have them. And if I did, I would ruin them. And I haven't. I've really flourished and prospered. You know, I've moved countries, which is a hugely difficult thing to do and adapt to, and I've done well. So yeah, so these things are all possible as long as you have, the determination and strong will to be able to do them. Also, there's programs and support groups and everything that you need. You just have to realize in yourself that it's worth doing, that you're worth something, you know? Even if you feel like you're not worth anything, you're worth something to somebody. Your mom, your dad, your brothers, your friends, you're worth something. So if you can admit to yourself that there's something wrong, um, that's the key, is to be able to admit it to yourself and say, you know, I'm an addict. I have a problem. You know, I'll be an addict for the rest of my life. It's just something that's in my brain. I can't moderate. I just can't do it. It sucks to have to admit something about yourself like that because it's like you feel a bit ashamed of it. Like, how can I not just be a normal person, right? Like, how can I not, you know, do what other people do? I used to watch my friend Matt, and he used to just socially drink. He'd have a couple, have a great time, get a little buzz, he'd be fine. And then there's me, blackout drunk, fist fighting people, breaking my nose, breaking their nose, getting arrested, you know, and there's a huge difference there, you know, is that he could have 3 beers and have a great night and just chill, and I had to have 20 beers and 3 shots and a couple mixed drinks, and I had to fight the biggest baddest guy in the goddamn place because I just thought I needed to do that. I just thought it. I just thought that I needed to inflict pain or be in pain, um, because I hurt emotionally. I hurt. But, physical pain is easier to deal with than emotional pain. So emotional pain and trauma is tough because you have to kind of you know admit stuff in yourself and like look inward. When physical pain is just like, I broke my hand, I'll put some ice on it and put a cast on it and it'll heal in time. Emotional pain, like the loss of a friend or the loss of a mom or a dad, or these scars are a lot harder to heal and they're a lot harder to recover from because, you know, like the mourning process and things like that. Nobody goes through those steps properly and you just kind of go through them differently. Um, when you're like mourning somebody, the sadness, the anger, the self blame, all that kind of stuff. You know, sometimes you just don't go about it the right way. I know when I lost my best friend Ron, I was crushed, absolutely crushed. Like he was a year younger than me. He was 20 years old. 20. And he was gone. Just like that. I mean, I just couldn't even wrap my head around it. It was horrible. It was horrible. And I probably did a lot of unhealthy coping with that whole situation. I didn't talk about it. I cried a lot. Uh, I went to his house every day with his family and kind of like immersed myself with them, because I felt like they were the only people that understood like what I felt. And it probably was very unhealthy for all of us. We kind of all got into this unhealthy, codependent relationship. I mean, their whole world was rocked by it. Um, so it's one of these things that I still like think like deep down inside, like, have I really ever processed it properly? I think I deal with it better now than I dealt with it back then. Obviously, because I'm sober and my mind is a lot clearer. And the earlier, like when you come into recovery and you're the first couple of years, you kind of what they say is you come out of the fog and you kind of like your mind gets clarity again. So I gained a lot of clarity and was able to deal with that and kind of process that a bit more and kind of understand that I didn't have to punish myself for that, and that I didn't have to not have a life and not live a life because I lost somebody close to me. Um, you know, the only thing I can do is keep his memory alive, and his memory will always live inside of me, and his legacy and stuff like that. We created a group called the Crew, and it's been something that is like hugely been a part of my life. I've decided that that's his legacy and that I was going to carry it on. And all my friends, my best friends, I got T-shirts made and necklaces and things like that. Like, because it's like a thing. Like, I want to keep it alive forever, so that to me, like, a little part of him will survive forever, because that crew will always be there. It'll always be existing. My son Arlo has a Crew T-shirt. My son Hayes has a Crew onesie. Um, my friend Jamal has a Crew shirt. I just welcomed him to the Crew this year because he's been my rock through this move and some stuff at home that he helped me get through. He's just been a constant in my life for the past 2 or 3 years. But no, more than that, 4 or 5 years now. Just a constant person in my life. And you know, sometimes that you need is somebody that's consistent and there for you. So, like I said, like, the Crew is forever, and it'll always be something that I can kind of look at and say, I've carried his legacy, and that's what I've done. So that's another thing that's helped me get through my sobriety, is being able to honor my friend that I lost and process that information in a healthier fashion. So yeah, so this is the first episode. So I think we're going to end it here. It's only a short one, 22 minutes, 23 minutes. But yeah, I'm going to come back, do more. The next episode will be more of a structure. I'm going to probably write some stuff down, get some ideas together, and come back with another episode. This was more like an introduction and like a trial to see how it goes. So if you listen to it, I appreciate you. Thank you. And hopefully you come back for episode number 2, because I will be getting that out as soon as possible. And then, yeah, continue on and hopefully get some guests and do some fun stuff. So thank you all for listening, and Cash is out.